While driving, the man notices something strange. He's never been to this place before, yet it feels eerily familiar. And as he looks at the statue ahead, fragmented images flash through his mind. He tells his wife that a car is about to pass by, but as they drive away from the roundabout, the car Jack mentioned never appears. Seeing this, his wife Lisa gently reassures him, saying that déjà vu is something many people experience, and there's nothing to worry about. Before long, they arrive at their destination, a beachside villa community. The project manager warmly greets them, since they're the very first residents to move in after construction. He assures them the area is completely safe, with security guards on duty 24/7. He's even notified the local police to keep an eye on the area during their nightly patrols. Lisa is pleased to hear this, but one thing puzzles her. Since there's no church or other building nearby, why is there an angel statue standing in the middle of the road? The manager sighs and explains. 40 years ago, the statue was supposed to be delivered to a fishing village, but on the way, a heavy rain came pouring down, and the truck broke down. Strangely enough, when the driver tried again the next day with a different truck, the vehicle broke down again, at the exact same spot. The church took it as a sign from God, and decided to leave the statue right there. With no further questions, the manager and his assistant leave. Jack and Lisa head into the nearby town to pick up some supplies. By the time they return, it's already late at night. Jack honks the horn to get the guard's attention, but no one shows up. Clearly, the guard is slacking off on the job. Frustrated, Jack opens the gate himself. When they reach the front door, they find a package on the table, tied with a small red ribbon. Tearing off the wrapping, they discover a beautifully framed portrait inside, but they hadn't ordered anything recently. Lisa guesses someone must have sent it to the wrong address. There's no sender's name on the package, either. Jack figures it must be a surprise from a friend, and despite Lisa's protests, he sets the portrait on the table. Just then, the doorbell rings. Jack opens the steel door, ready to confront whoever it is, only to find his best friend standing there, fuming. The friend angrily demands to know why Jack called him over so late. Jack is confused. He'd only sent out a group text asking who had sent the portrait. The friend goes to pull up the call log to prove it, but realizes he left his phone in the car. Thinking he must have been mistaken, he drops the matter, but he insists he didn't send the portrait, and without Jack's call, he wouldn't have even known where the villa was. While the three of them are chatting, an uninvited guest is silently watching from outside the window. After Jack sees his friend off, a client calls him. The signal inside is poor, so Jack steps out onto the balcony to take the call. Suddenly, he notices the branches in front of him rustling. Thinking it's just a stray cat or dog, he doesn't think much of it, but the moment he hangs up and steps back inside, a piercing sound rings out, the lights flicker wildly, and then the entire villa community plunges into darkness. It seems the manager really wasn't reliable after all. Furious, Jack calls him immediately. Hearing that the guard had abandoned his post, the manager quickly apologizes. He explains there's a backup generator in the underground parking lot. Just flip the switch and the power will come back on. Jack hangs up, still annoyed, but to avoid spending the night in the dark, they have no choice but to go down themselves. Outside, they notice the moon hanging low and full, its pale light bathing the ground, giving off an eerie atmosphere they can't quite describe. They soon reach the parking lot. Jack flips the switch, and the power comes back on. One by one, the street lamps light up across the community. Their task done, they're about to head back, when Lisa suddenly spots a figure flashing by up ahead. They rush forward to investigate, but find nothing except an empty oil drum on the ground. Jack chalks it up to her imagination, since they're the only residents in the entire community. But when they get back to the house, Lisa sees that the lights are on in the villa across from theirs. Could there be other tenants here? While Jack puzzles over it, his phone suddenly rings. It's the security guard. His wife had been hospitalized, and he had no choice but to leave work to care for her. Jack doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to know if anyone else has moved in. But the guard insists that the villa across the way doesn't even have power. There's no way the lights could be on. Just then, that piercing sound returns. Jack's never heard anything like it. Determined to find the source, he heads out to investigate. Little does he know, once he steps through that dark hallway, everything will change. The villa that was just lit up is now pitch black. Confused, Jack approaches the door and finds a burning cigar on the ground. Whoever was here put out the lights only moments ago. Back home, Jack tells Lisa what happened, but she has no idea what he's talking about. While Jack tries to make sense of it, the familiar sound returns once again.
Vasanth, இங்க நம்ம மட்டும் தான் இருக்கோம், வேற யாரும் ஆக்கிபை பண்ணலன்னு சொன்னாங்கல்ல? இங்க பாரு, அந்த வீட்ல லைட் எரியுது.
Still not realizing how serious things are, Jack assumes the person turned the lights back on after he left, so he and Lisa head over together to check. They cross through the dark stretch. This time, the lights are still on. Jack tells Lisa to wait, and approaches the window alone. Through the glass, he sees the exact same portrait sitting inside, identical to the one in their home. While Jack stands there, baffled, Lisa comes running over in a panic. She says the people inside look exactly like them. Jack refuses to believe it, until he sees another version of himself with his own eyes. He grabs Lisa and they run. Back home, Lisa is still shaken and demands they leave this cursed place at once. Jack tries to calm her down, insisting someone must be playing a sick prank on them. he shows her the key piece of evidence, the cigar butt. But Lisa turns even paler. She brings out a box. Inside are the very same Cuban cigars. The brand is rare, and she'd gone to great lengths to get a friend to buy them as a surprise for Jack. Now the surprise has turned into a nightmare. Everything points to one thing. Something impossible is happening to them. In her panic, Lisa knocks against the table. As Jack watches the glass wobble, it suddenly hits him. He saw the exact same thing in the villa across the way. He rushes to the window and sees the toppled potted plant on the floor. They don't dare stay another minute. They jump in the car and speed off. But as they drive through the dark stretch, Lisa suddenly spots a car ahead. Jack slams on the gas, the car flying down the road. But they seem trapped in a loop. No matter how fast they drive, they keep ending up back at the starting point. When they return to the house, they find the portrait shattered on the floor. Realizing something is terribly wrong, Lisa calls the police, while Jack searches the house for any possible threat. Once he's sure it's safe, Jack calls his friend to make sure he made it home okay. But the friend says he never came to the villa at all. While Jack stands there confused, a sharp burning smell hits his nose. The curtains have caught fire from a candle. He grabs a blanket from the floor and smothers the flames. But Lisa remembers clearly. After the power came back, she blew out every single candle. And yet, here they are, still burning. Someone must have come into the house while they were gone. Whoever it was lit the candles and destroyed the portrait. Just then, a car roars past outside. They rush to the window, and see that the curtains in the villa across the way are also on fire. A theory begins to form in Jack's mind. He flips the power off, then back on. When the same thing happens across the way, it all suddenly makes sense. The man over there is him. Only the time over there is a few minutes behind. Now that he understands the problem, things get easier. Jack writes a friendly message in a notebook. The two cross through the dark stretch, slip the note under the door of the other house, and hurry back home. But when they open their own door, there's a note lying on the floor. They open it. It's the exact same letter. Jack is stunned. He clearly delivered it to the other house, yet somehow it ended up back in his own. Was his theory wrong? Could the other side just be a mirror of theirs? Willing to test it, Jack writes another message. This time, he leaves Lisa at home to wait, to confirm what's really happening. But the very next moment, a note slips through the door. The contents are unmistakable. It's the very note he was about to deliver. Jack is completely lost now. None of this makes any sense. Just then, the steel door swings open. 3 pairs of eyes meet. Before Jack can react, the man lunges and attacks him. The two grapple violently, but the other man is far stronger. Within seconds, Jack is pinned to the floor. At the critical moment, Lisa grabs a stick and steps in, managing to drive the attacker away. The sudden chaos leaves Jack utterly drained. He desperately wishes it were all just a nightmare, but the burning pain on his face is all too real. After downing 2 stiff drinks, the angrier he gets, he grabs a baseball bat, ready to confront the other man. Afraid things will spiral out of control, Lisa hurries after him, but when they reach the other villa, Jack hears arguing inside. Through the window, he sees a woman who looks exactly like Lisa lying on the floor, while the man stands over her, full of regret. Checking the clock, he realizes, this is happening at 1:30 a.m. Jack's thirst for revenge vanishes. When Lisa asks what's going on, he can't say a word. He stumbles back home, only to find that the clock on his wall now reads 1 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock when they left. How could time have rolled back an entire hour in the blink of an eye? With 1:30 fast approaching, and remembering what he just saw, Jack knows he can't just sit and wait. Convinced that drunk him will hurt his wife, he pours all the alcohol down the drain. If they can just make it past 1:30 safely, maybe they can break this endless loop. While they wait anxiously, the roar of an engine sounds outside. Jack rushes to the window, and sees the car vanish the instant it enters the dark zone. Now it all makes sense. That dark stretch is a kind of time tunnel. Step into it, and you're randomly thrown to another point in time within that area. He and Lisa had crossed it many times trying to leave, which explains why his own car kept passing by outside. But knowing the cause doesn't help him escape. Then Lisa proposes an idea. Every previous time, they crossed the dark stretch unaware. But if they cross it consciously, on purpose, maybe they can find a loophole. Without hesitation, they try it. This time, when they cross, they arrive at the moment right after their friend left. Jack sees his other self heading to the balcony to take the call. Feeling guilty, he grabs Lisa to leave, but accidentally bumps into a tree trunk. Luckily, the other Jack doesn't notice, but what comes next breaks Lisa's heart. The portrait was a gift from her best friend to Jack, and Jack and her friend had been having an affair the whole time. She never imagined the 2 people closest to her would betray her like this. Devastated, Lisa walks away. Jack tries to explain, but she won't hear a word. She walks straight into the darkness. Jack panics and runs after her, but when he emerges on the other side, Lisa is nowhere to be found. He runs to the villa to look, but clearly, this isn't the timeline she went into. Jack keeps stepping in and out of the dark zone. He sees other versions of himself in different time periods. One of them almost spots him. He loses count of how many times he crosses, but he can never find his Lisa. He grows more and more frantic, smashing things around the house. The portrait shatters once again. Just then, a thick cloud covers the supermoon. The street lamps that had gone out flicker back on. A police car pulls up in front of him. The officer says he received a call from a woman. Jack admits it was his wife who called, but says she's now missing. She disappeared around 1:30 a.m., but the officer checks his watch. It's only midnight. The officer grows suspicious. He sees the bruises on Jack's face, smells the alcohol on his breath, and finds him deeply suspicious. A quick look around the trashed house only makes it worse. Jack becomes the prime suspect, and the officer takes him to the station. At the station, Jack can think of nothing but finding Lisa. He attacks the officers, and within moments, takes them all down. Then he steals a car and races back to the villa. As he passes the statue at the roundabout, the images that had flashed in his mind earlier finally play out before his eyes. Without hesitation, he turns around and follows them. He arrives at a large mansion and slowly steps inside. An old man inside seems to have been waiting for him. The old man tells Jack that he too was a victim of the dark zone. Years ago, 2 murders took place on the very spot where Jack's villa now stands. Both victims were the old man's friends. That night, the 3 of them had gone to tour the villa together. Suddenly, his 2 friends were killed under bizarre circumstances. When he chased after the killer, he was shocked to find that the murderer looked exactly like himself. No one in court believed him. They even suspected he was insane. After he was released from prison, the old man devoted himself to investigating the case. He discovered that back when India was still a British colony, there had been a secret research lab on this very site. A massive accident eventually shut the project down, but the experiment left behind aftereffects. Exactly what Jack is experiencing now. A parallel black hole. By the laws of nature, a person can only exist on one timeline, but through a parallel black hole, one can travel between timelines. Every time someone enters the dark zone, a new timeline branches off. Jack desperately asks how the old man got back to his original timeline, but the old man tells him, once you enter a parallel black hole, you can never go back. If he wants to be the only version of himself on a given timeline, he'll have to kill the version of himself already there. Jack can hardly believe it. All he wants is to find Lisa. The old man says, if he wants to find her, then do as he says. The time tunnel only opens during a supermoon. Armed with this knowledge, Jack returns to the villa and steps into the dark zone once more. This time, when he crosses over, the house is empty of his other self. He walks in happily. Remembering the old man's words, when the other Jack appears, he attacks him without hesitation. He has to kill this timeline's version of himself to truly be with Lisa. As they wrestle on the floor, Lisa grabs the baseball bat to strike him, but Jack already knows where she'll aim, and grabs the bat in time. Still, he's outnumbered, and he chooses to flee. He steps into the dark zone again, into another timeline. Here, Lisa and Jack are deeply in love. Lisa even shows him a positive pregnancy test. Seeing this, his heart sinks. He can't bring himself to do it. He steps back into the darkness. This time, the villa is completely empty. He sits on the couch, lost in thought. Soon, sirens wail outside. He looks out. It's the same officer from before. Then another car pulls up behind the police car. Out steps Lisa. She had called the police looking for Jack. Eventually, the two decide to leave the place behind. On the road, Lisa gets a call from her friend, telling her she's found Jack. From their conversation, Jack realizes he disappeared while going to the basement to find the backup power. Once again, Jack is lost. It seems he still hasn't returned to his original timeline, but it doesn't matter to him anymore. As long as he's with Lisa, that's enough. They stop at a gas station along the way. Jack heads to the restroom. And then, another Jack walks in. The next moment, Jack is back in the car. It seems yet another version of him killed the one who just walked in. Is he still the same Jack he started out as? That's the entire story of the Indian thriller Parallel Hole. I'm Jack. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.